Just waiting for that to connect. I can see a bunch of you joining on. So cool to have all of you guys. There she is.
Wow,
There she is. Oh, so good to see you, beautiful. I am super pumped for this interview with you. I know so many in my audience have been dying to meet you. I've mentioned you a few times about your beautiful books and your beautiful energy and all the amazing work that you're doing around gratitude in the world. So how I wanted to just kind of dive in, I'll just do a little bit of an introduction about what today is, and then I want to dive in with you and get some of your beautiful wisdom shared so that we can get out of the fear zone with, you know, everything going on, and definitely help us all jump into the growth zone. So love it. So today, day 2, all around this special interview series with incredible people just like who you're about to meet today, the incredible Donna-Leigh Perfect. Amazing souls doing extraordinary work around the globe who are here really wanting to contribute to the lives of everybody that they touch. So very excited for today. And before I get you to just give everybody a little bit more of an insight into who you are, I'd love to start with the number one question, and I think it's the perfect question for you, even though I ask everybody. But what are you most grateful for in your life right now?
Right now, wow. I would have to say that I'm most grateful for the life lessons that are presenting themselves to me every single day. Yeah.
I love
that.
So
there's always a lesson in life that we can learn, and I am so grateful for those lessons because they enable me to grow and you know, every day become a better version of myself. So always grateful for the life lessons.
Yeah, that rings real true. Absolutely. And I know you're somebody like the rest of our audience, you know, you're so committed to your growth and expansion and, you know, being of higher value and impact to this world. So I like that gratitude a lot, and I second that. So I'd love for you to just share a little bit before I dive into the questions that I really want to touch base with you and get your expertise and your wisdom. I'd love for you to just share with everybody just a little bit about who you are and the work that you do and what inspires you in this world. Okay.
Well, I'm originally a Kiwi girl, and I came to Australia in 1994. And I actually have a fashion background. So I spent 24 years in the fashion industry working with people like Carla Zampati and Nicola Finetti and all these amazing fashion designers. Then I shifted away from that, and you know, I've had quite an interesting childhood. I had a lot of trauma in my childhood, and so those lessons today I'm very grateful for, even though there was a lot of adversity and a lot of challenges. I'm really grateful for those because they are enabling me now to help others. So as an international speaker and 3 times published author, you know, I'm sharing my story. I'm sharing my passion, my, you know, I guess my message to the world that is all about, you know, I guess really believing in yourself and believing in the value in you. And, you know, my passion's about saving lives, really, Vanessa, from bullying, from suicide, from domestic violence. So, you know, that's it in a nutshell, really.
You've hit on so many amazing points, and my tendency is to go a little off script sometimes because I just get so immersed in all that you've just shared there, because oh my gosh, like it was just jam-packed with all the different possibilities and rabbit holes that we could be helping and supporting people with your experience. But a couple of things that popped out to me just then were adversity and challenge. And, you know, your story is absolutely incredible in terms of what you've managed to navigate from such a young age throughout your life. And, you know, I know you are learning lessons every single day, like you've just said. And, you know, this is a time where a lot of people they may not have had the level of adversity and challenge and uncertainty that we're currently experiencing in the global climate right now. So based on your immense experience in this realm, what advice or what guidance would you give to people who, you know, this is the first time kind of maybe out of their comfort zone in a lot of ways? How would you support them through that?
Yes, and certainly that is a major issue for a lot of people that maybe have not faced a lot of adversity and don't believe in the resilience that's actually innate within all of us. We all have resilience, and it's a matter of tapping into it and believing in it, and just knowing that it's there to help us through these difficult, challenging times right now. And so much of it is about our belief system, and or sometimes, unfortunately, our lack of belief. And so, you know, the limiting beliefs that we tell ourselves over and over again, and it's often in our subconscious, you know, these kind of auto suggestive messages that just keep rotating around and around until we're actually conscious of those and stop ourselves and go, you know, are these messages, are these words serving me and helping me in this moment right now? And I think it's really important that we stay very present. So one of the main things that you know, escalate anxiety is that we're not present. So we're either thinking of the past, and you know, we're kind of being triggered by what's happening now by past experiences, and so we kind of are then living in the past because we're reacting from past experiences and then allowing those past experiences to create this this reaction or response in the moment now. And or we're looking too far ahead in the future, and we're worried and fearful of what could be, what could happen. And you know, our only reality is now, in this moment right now. So if we can stay grounded and if we can stay present, that is really the key. That is the key right now.
I love that. Absolutely. I completely resonate with everything that you just said then. It's absolutely key, being present. And I know a lot of us kind of get that, and we know it and we've heard it, but like applying it is really key. And I know with some of the questions that I know I'm going to be asking you today, I know you're going to be able to give people some guidance on applying some of this stuff as well. But I think one of the other key things, because you just hit me with so much great stuff just a minute ago, oh my gosh, in such a short period of time, but so much just rung out, and that key of believing in yourself. And would you say, you know, based on your experience with adversity and challenge in your life and trauma and all those massive, you know, domestic violence, all those different key things, would you say that adversity has led you to have that resilience, which has in turn generated further levels of self-belief? So maybe more so than you may have had before that adversity, but because you chose to take the direction with that adversity that you have, it's led to higher levels of self-belief, as opposed to the person who, you know, becomes a victim to the circumstances. Would you say that?
Absolutely. And I really think there's kind of a fork in the road, you know, when you're faced with adversity. I see there's this fork in the road, and some people choose to take the victim fork or the path, and others take the, you know, hey, look, I'm going to face this head on, and, you know, even go the step further and say, well, as hard as this is, I know there are gifts. I know there are amazing lessons that I'm going to learn in this. And so even in the moment of suffering, I can be grateful. And, you know, like I love Viktor Frankl's kind of, you know, analogy about all of this, that even, you know, in his suffering as an Auschwitz survivor, that he was able to look at the gifts in the moments where he was, you know, starving in a concentration camp. And he was able to look at the gifts of the meals that arrived to him and that kind of thing. So, you know, it is a choice every single day, every single second of every single day. We can choose how we respond. And I love, I've been talking a lot about this lately, Vanessa, is the equation of life. And the equation of life is E plus R equals O. So E is the event. So right now, the event is the coronavirus pandemic. We don't have a lot of control over this event, other than isolating and doing what we've, been told to do. There's not a lot of control that we have. It's sort of outside of our sphere of control. And so where the control is in this equation is in the R, in the response. So our response to this event has a massive, impact on our personal outcome. So if we can respond with, first of all, being mindful, being present, being in the moment, and be kind to ourselves, and, just being as coming from love as opposed to fear as much as we can, these all have a massive impact on our personal outcome. And it's that sphere of, response. So what we have, it's like our, where we have control, span of control. So the span of control can be way out there if we choose it to. If we start to worry about Italy, we start to worry about what's happening in China, we start to worry about what's, how many people are dying in different countries, and it's sad and it's terrible. But it takes the span of our control so much further, and then we become overwhelmed. And our anxiety starts to escalate. So if we can limit the span of control back to our environment, where we are, our presence, our mindfulness right now, and it will bring the anxiety down. So yeah.
I love that. I absolutely love that, because I think you just made it super clear for people to have kind of almost like a visual in their mind and an equation, so equation for life.
Yes.
So the event plus the your response to it equals the outcome, and that puts you in the choice point, that puts you in the control. So, and that's the other thing, there's so much uncertainty in our external world. I can see that would give so much certainty within, which is truly the only place that we're ever going to have certainty, over how we're going to operate, what meanings we're going to create, and all of that stuff there. So I love that. So beautifully put. And I know that'll be immensely valuable for the people watching. Another amazing thing, just the last thing I want to tie off before I get into the other questions. You touched on something that's super important. And I think particularly in a time like this, we've all heard, now we're getting the self-isolation, families are being put back into homes, children are at home every day, there's homeschooling, there's all the uncertainty around us. So we're being put in a position where they're saying, and it seems likely that domestic abuse is going to up level at this time, suicide, because people are so scared about what's happening with their lives, and the financial realm, the economic crisis, and all these sorts of things. So I know it's a bit of a general topic, but would you like to just share any words of wisdom or any experience that you've had in helping people navigate either side of that equation with domestic violence or abuse or suicide?
Yes, well, sadly, you're right, Vanessa. We're already seeing an increase of up to 40% in domestic violence right now in some countries, which is just not okay, So sadly, in this isolation environment, in a domestic violence situation, the perpetrator has the victim exactly where they want them, which is isolated, and under the perpetrator's control. And because the perpetrator, which often is we're talking about narcissistic personality disorder, that kind of thing, they are already losing a level of control in their own lives, a level of power in their own lives. Either they may have lost their job, their income may have gone down, they have to isolate, so they don't have the freedom to go out and socialize and be with their peers or whatever their life looks like. And so when their sense of control and power is taken from them, then they tend to project that on whoever's close by. So sadly, it's projected on the partner, the children, And that's a perfect environment for a narcissist because they have them isolated. So I've been talking about this a little bit lately, and I think it's really, really important that a person see in the cycle. It's very complex, but in a cycle of domestic violence, there's a perpetrator and a victim, and they both actually get a payoff. So it's a cycle that continues until you recognize that well, I've got to step away from this patterning in my life. I've got to recognize it and step away. And so until a person does, both the victim and the perpetrator need each other. So it's a codependent situation. And so I suggest that, the victim needs to really start, planning. And these need to be, steps that, and it's very difficult in this isolation situation, but, whenever there's an opportunity, it's a matter of planning and getting support. And so if that's a trusted person in their family, a trusted person, a close friend where they can trust and be able to reach out and say, look, this is the situation I'm in. It's escalating. And I need you to be my support person that I am going to call. And can I count on you? And if you see my phone number come up, I need you to respond immediately. I need you to, be there for me. I need to know that you're going to be there. And, reach out and find out about the sort of support services that are available that you can ring straight away to get help. And there are DV 1-800 numbers. In fact, on my free app, which has got 13 life-saving support services, we have a domestic violence 1-800 number. So, there are services available. But, aside of this, it is an incredibly difficult situation because you have very limited control over how you can kind of have those moments of freedom and time away in an isolated environment. So it is very challenging. And unfortunately for children, we're finding that quite often, and I know for myself, in my own situation as a child, school was often the place that you could escape from and get some normality, some stability, some security in your life if things weren't going well at home. Yeah. And so now the children don't have school. So they're back in this environment where potentially they have tried to escape from. Now they're back in there 24 hours a day. And, this is a concerning thing because, when it comes to taking kids out of school, often you're putting them in an environment which is actually much, less safe than, and so, I'm really hoping that these sort of things don't cause any escalation for children, especially. Children are innocent victims in this situation, so. Yeah.
And I know you do a lot of great work with children. When the coronavirus isn't, attacking the world, you're out there on the front line with these children, going into schools and helping them, navigate the realm of being bullied. And I'm sure around the realm of, challenges at home and all of this sort of stuff. So, and I know you've taken a lot of what you're doing, and that's why I'm really grateful that we're here today. And, at least we can get this message out to people, alerting them to, hey, there is support here. And there's people just like yourself who have this knowledge, who have this expertise, who can guide people. If it's not you personally, it's to the right sources as well. So
absolutely. And just know that you're not alone. That's the most important thing, is to know that you're not alone. And there is, I always say there's magic on the other side of this mountain. So, believe that you can get out of this toxic relationship and not just survive, but thrive. And but it's just little steps forward, and reaching out for the support that is going to help you to get step by step into that new life that you deserve for yourself.
You actually, I think 3 times, I'm sure it's not just because it's really cold here, you've actually given me chills, because what I feel from you is with everything that you speak into, I see it in your face, I see it in your eyes, I feel your heart and your soul in all that love and that kind of shining light that you're giving to other people, because you've been there, you've experienced it. You keep learning these lessons each and every day. You have your challenges like we all do, and
Yes.
you keep showing up and being that message of light. And I'm really honored that, you know, you do show up in the way that you do. And it's such a pleasure to get to meet and connect with somebody just like yourself, who just does everything that they do with absolute heart and soul. So, so much value in all you said there.
Thank you.
And
thank you, Vanessa.
You're welcome. Always just the truth coming at you. And so what about also, I know you've had quite a bit of experience with helping people navigate the realms of suicide as well, which is on another level of what people are dealing with. And the reason why we want to address this stuff today is because what we don't face, we are fearful of. And so when we can shine some light on the stuff that most people don't maybe want to talk about or think is a bit negative, we actually transition from fear to growth and to empowerment. And like you've been talking about, Donna, you know, that's sitting at the choice point and getting back your power. So that's why I really want to dive into this with you. And love for you to share a little bit about some guidance on dealing and navigating if you're the person maybe dealing with suicide, or maybe somebody in your life struggling with that and you're a bit worried.
Where are you? Can you
Lost
hear me?
you. Lost you for a second. Yeah, sorry. I think I had a poor network connection. But you're back on now.
Okay, and I can't seem to see myself, but that's weird.
I think you might have flipped your camera.
Oh, okay. Let me see.
So up in the top left-hand corner, if you press, there's little arrows. It should flip you back so we get to see your beautiful face.
Okay. Left top corner.
Yeah.
I can't see that. Oh, is it on your side? Maybe it's on your side.
No, I can only navigate mine. It's showing up on the left. I don't know. This is my second day of doing this. Here we go. Woo! We did it.
It was down the bottom on the right.
Oh, okay. All right. Mine's top left, yours bottom right. Okay. So next time we're doing an interview, we'll know. We'll know for next time. Good. All right.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah.
Back to it.
So you are. I am losing you a little bit. There's no anyway. You've gone a bit out of focus, but yes. So of course, suicide's the other side of this, and as a lifeline counsellor, I was a volunteer on the phones for 2 years, and so I got many suicide calls, and you know, the most important thing is to have a person, a trusted person that you can turn to and to talk about your feelings. And you know, it is so important, like you said, Vanessa, that we do talk about it, that we do ask, are you feeling suicidal? Do you have suicidal tendencies? Have you thought about a plan of suicide? And, you know, it can be really confronting to ask those questions. But unless we ask those questions, we don't know. We're just assuming, and we're thinking everything's okay. And so we need to check in with people regularly. And I think that's really important, is just checking in with each other right now, staying connected, making sure that if you have a sense, you know, and often we have that gut feeling, you know, that gut feeling, oh, I just kind of feel something not right about, you know, a such and such friend, and I just want to check in with them. So having that, you know, that regular checking in, I think is really important. And so, how are you? How are you feeling today? You know, and just have the discussion, have the really, you know, honest, open discussion about it. And then you can start to get the support that you need. And whether that means that you get it for yourself, or whether you get it for a friend, but, you know, checking in regularly and reaching out, because there's, again, so much support out there You are not alone. And, you know, it is, again, so much about our power is in the response in the situation. So just know that there's lots of options. And, you know, sometimes we think there's only this one option, and it seems like everything's just so much, too much. And that's my only option. And so by having that discussion with somebody and saying, there's so many options here, let's write them down. Let's explore them. Let's look at all the options. And, you know, this time too shall pass.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's beautiful. So just let me know if you can't hear me, if my internet connection goes a bit foggy again. I know Matt's just letting me know it's a little bit foggy.
It's good now.
Okay, good. All right, awesome. So yeah, such amazing advice and wisdom that you just shared there. And I think it's just not talked about enough. So I really appreciate you just sharing that. And I'm really seeing a common underlying theme in all that you're sharing with us, which is you're not alone, right? Like how important connection is. And that's the first question that I was supposed to start with, but I just go off and I just get interested in everything that you just had to say. But I wanted to ask you this key question because I was really unpacking this the other day and thinking about, you know, everybody, all my clients that I'm talking to across the globe, we're all spread out all over the shop, and we were all sharing, you know, our experiences through the lockdowns, the isolation, all the restrictions, and, you know, the craziness and the fear and all that sort of stuff. And I came up with just feeling like, you know, the key foundation to all of this is having that connection to yourself. Also having clarity over a way forward, you know, and also challenging ourselves each and every day. And so the first question that I have for you, which is the 10th by now, but it is, what is your best strategy for connecting with the self and creating internal stability during this uncertain time?
It's a great question. I just want to backtrack for a second, because what I did this morning is I got up at 4:30 and I got on my bike and I went to the beach and I watched the sunrise and had a meditation. And what I noticed for the hour or so after that I was sitting just watching people was I saw a change. And the change that I saw in people were less people on their phones, on their devices. I didn't even see people on their phones. And it was incredible. Like I had such an awareness around it. It was just amazing. And people were they were talking, or they were looking around, and they were exercising and enjoying. And it was just a beautiful, you know, observation. A change, a shift in people. And that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing this overwhelming feeling of wanting to connect more with each other. But that starts with self.
Yeah.
That starts with self. And, you know, through these kind of really challenging moments like we're facing right now, it's so important that we have our rituals and our you know, our moments where we connect with self and make sure that we are giving the love and the self-compassion to ourselves first. Because if we are giving that to ourselves, that flows out of us. And, you know, I always love Wayne Dyer's analogy. I actually share this on the stage, and I talk about the orange. And if you cut an orange in half, what are you going to get out of the orange? Are you going to get lemonade? Are you going to get Coca-Cola? No, you're going to get orange juice, because that's what's inside the orange when you squeeze it. So when we're under pressure and strain and stress, which we are experiencing right now, what's going to come out of us? Is it going to be fear? Is it going to be anger? Is it going to be frustration? Is it going to be, you know, resentment? What's going to come out? Because that's what's inside. It's not about anyone else externally. It's not about blaming anybody, but what's inside us. So the most important thing right now is to connect with self and come from a place of love for self first. And that comes with, you know, the rituals, the daily rituals of meditation and the affirmations, and stopping yourself in your tracks when you have those moments where you're being unkind to yourself, moments where you're doubting yourself, where you're, you know, you're sabotaging yourself with these limiting beliefs and words, and stop yourself. Have those conscious moments where you just stop and say, no, I choose to change that language, that personal language, and I choose to use words of, you know, compassion, self-compassion. And when you come from a place of self-compassion and love, love flows out. So then that's a ripple effect. And it has this beautiful effect on your family, your environment, your community. But it starts with self. So, you know, those rituals of meditation, those rituals of gratitude. And, you know, even the self reflective mirror rituals, you know, when you're brushing your teeth and you can look in the mirror, look in your eyes and say to yourself, I love you, I respect you, I honor the divinity within you. And you know, those words.
Oh my gosh, there's so much beauty in everything that you just shared there, from your personal experience this morning, and really noticing the changes and for the betterment, you know, of our connection with others. And you know, I'm always saying that, like, that foundational part of how we're treating others, and you know, if we're the orange and we're cutting open, that's oozing out to our relationships, you know. It is that connection with self. And you actually just triggered a thought for me right then, because a lot of people you know, equate who they are and their inherent value with what they do in the world, right? And what right now, you know, everybody's being forced to stop doing the thing that they're identifying with as the value that they are in the world. And so, yeah, it just made me really think about that, because a lot of us, and this is some of the work I was personally doing for myself this morning, making some really, you know, good realizations within myself as to where I place my value, and knowing that one of the most powerful things that we can ever do for ourselves is to actually believe and know and trust in our inherent value as just being the human being that you are. You know, a brilliant quote by Dr. John Demartini, who I should be having on the show on Sunday, which will be fun if he can make it then. So he always says, you know, no matter what you've done or not done, you're worthy of love, you know. And I think that that's another key element on that self-connection and everything that you're sharing there, with self-compassion and love and respect, just because you're just valuable, because you're here. And you're the only you, you know. So that's beautiful. I love rituals, absolutely.
Yeah. And you know, we're all perfect beings. We're born perfect. We are perfect, just the way we are, you know. So that's
well, you're a little extra lucky because you've got the last name Perfect.
yeah
You get that reminder every day. I love it.
I love it.
Awesome. All right, so the next question that I want to dive into with you is this one around clarity, because you know, we can get caught up, like you mentioned before, we can get caught up in the past and we're regretting the past, or we're getting caught up in the future and we're projecting pain in our future. But in order to be present and get real clarity over, you know, what matters in this world, the question I have for you is kind of for you to give us a question, which is, what powerful question should all of us be asking right now and answering for ourselves, like spending that time to answer, in order to gain clarity over what's inspiring for us, what's moving us forward, and what matters, what's got meaning to it, during this time where we're kind of, you know, all shook up. So what would be that powerful question?
I think, you know, looking forward 10 years and asking yourself, what is, you know, what would you have learned from this experience right now? So what do you want to gain from this experience that you can look back in 10 years time and go, wow, you know, that is the goal, that is the life lesson that I want to, you know, come from this experience right now. So you know, and think about that, and think about what really is important, what really is important. And I love, you know, again, going back to, you know, seeing this kind of change and shift in people, that people are really reaching out. There's this human connection, even though we can't actually physically connect. We're seeing it more and more often that, you know, you're seeing people that are just looking through the window and, you know, that they can't touch, but there's this beautiful kind of human connection, or they're reaching out on the phone and having those conversations that they might not have had before. And so what's important? What truly is important in this moment right now? And let everything else go. Like, don't sweat the small stuff. Just, you know, and what is your message? What is your message that you want to take from this, you know? And it may be a legacy that you want to leave from this experience that, you know, is going to help people moving forward. So, you know, what do you want to be remembered for in this experience?
I love that. And it's very much connected to, you know, operating as a person that you'd be proud of in your future. You know, how do you want to handle this situation? How do you want to show up for the people around you? You know, because oftentimes we all know that saying that we'll do more for others than we do for ourselves. You know, so it's a great way to use that as leverage to be the kind of person who steps up and becomes the leader in this environment rather than following fear, I guess. So
absolutely.
Love that. Yeah. Powerful questions. Thank you so much for sharing those with us. I definitely want you guys to be doing that at home and getting some clarity today, because that's what these messages are about. That's why I'm bringing extraordinary people like Donna into the equation, so that you guys are making the most of this time, so that, like Donna's just asked us, you know, what do you want to take from this experience? You're utilizing your time at the highest capacity. So
what do you want to be remembered for, you know? In this time.
Absolutely. That legacy piece. How do you want it? Because you're remembered because of the impact that you make, right? So love that. Awesome. Okay, and the other question that I have for you is all around challenge. And so the reason why challenge is important for all of us right now is because it'd be super easy to try and fall back into kind of a bit of a comfort zone, you know, just like, I'm at home, I'm chilling with Netflix, and I'm going to sit on the couch and I'm just going to eat chocolate, whatever. Sounds kind of good. Sometimes we might need to do that. But
bring it on.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't mind a little bit of that. Yeah, good idea. But no, so what I wanted to really utilize this question for is to keep expanding, to keep growing. And the way that we connect deeper with ourselves is to challenge ourselves, so that we get to discover a new piece of who we are. So what inspiring challenge do you suggest that we all do today to ensure that we're continuing to grow and expand for the better during this time?
Yeah, sure. Well, I have got a very exciting challenge to put to everyone, but I love this challenge right now, that we are actually doing an Instagram for the first time. I've never done that. So, you know, so through this, you know, this challenging time, you actually step out of your comfort zone and you try something different. And I have run a 6-part webinar series over the last fortnight. I never did a webinar series in my life. And so I had to learn how to do Zoom and webinars. And I never would have probably done that had I not been forced into this environment where it, you know, it kind of just pushes you to, you know, overcome any of those limiting beliefs and fears that you have, that I'm not good enough, I can't do it, and just take imperfect action and just do it. And that's what I always say, you know, it's better to take imperfect action than perfect inaction. So, so my challenge is something really exciting, actually a global challenge. So over the last 18 months, 2 years, I started, along with a beautiful 14-year-old girl, I started a global gratitude chain challenge. Now, there's a really interesting story behind this. There was a family that reached out to me very late one Saturday night because their daughter, who was in year 9 and she was 14, and she was being bullied relentlessly for 9 months, and she was suicidal. And the family were absolutely beside themselves. And they rang me and said, Donna, we don't know what to do. And I said, well, I would like to come to your home in the morning. This was Sunday morning. And I would like to spend some time with you and your family. And so I went round that the next morning, and I had some beautiful resources. I had an amazing book from a friend of mine who is a Sunshine Coast author, Karen Clark, and her book is From Bullied to Brilliant, an incredible book, life-changing book. And I took that along with some beautiful, positive affirmations that I wanted this young girl to read out every day when she looked in the mirror before she went to school. Then I shared my story with her. And this was the most profound part of it, was that when I finished sharing my story with her, she walked over to me, she hugged me with tears in her eyes, and she said, if you can get through what you went through, I can get through this. And I have goosebumps all over me right now.
You just gave them to me. You just keep giving them to me.
It's just phenomenal. Every time I share that story is just incredible. And 3 weeks later, we had a community showcase event. And we were showcasing our show, and which is all about empowering kids to stand up to bullying and abuse in their life with my peace tools. And this young girl actually volunteered at this event. We had activity tables all set up around this venue. And one of the activity tables was to write down something you're grateful for on a piece of paper. And she was at this activity table. And she started to create a Christmas chain with these paper gratitude links. And that was the beginning of the global gratitude chain movement, which is what you see here. Goes on and on and on and on. And basically, it's a link of paper. So it's a piece of paper like that, 6 centimeters by 21 centimeters, any color you like. And the idea is to write down something that you're grateful for in your life. Okay, so you can see all of the gratitude. Okay, now this is a tiny piece. The gratitude chain is now 4 football fields long. And wow. The challenge is, I would like to see this gratitude chain 8 football fields long by the end of this coronavirus pandemic. I would like people to stop that are in their homes, people that are maybe still working, and write down on a link what they're grateful for in this moment, the life lessons they're learning, the time, quality time they're spending with their children right now. You know, we played Monopoly last night, my daughter and her boyfriend, and we had a blast of a time, you know. So what special things are you doing with your family now that, you know, you don't normally do, that, you know, all these beautiful moments that you're having? And, you know, I would even challenge you to create a diary of these moments, even a video diary or something where, you know, because this is history in the making right now. So have something you can look back on and go, wow, remember this moment in history and all of the amazing things that we did and shared together. And it could actually be a pivotal moment in your life that will change the trajectory of how you look at your life moving forward, even your family life. You may choose to have more evening meals together. And, you know, all these beautiful things that are coming out of this experience. So surely you have 5 minutes that you can spend with your family and write down on one of these gratitude links something that you are grateful for in your life and be part of this global gratitude chain movement. Now, this is embracing the diversity of our world. sisters and brothers side by side, celebrating our uniqueness. There's no judgment on race or religion or sex. It's 93-year-olds to 3-year-olds sharing their mindful moment of gratitude and connecting the world through a mindful moment. And we are lifting the vibrational energy of our world through gratitude right now. So I would really encourage you to be part of it. All you have to do is write that link, send it to me, PO Box 70, Varsity Lakes, Queensland, 4227, and be part of this phenomenal movement. And the big plan is that this is going to go on the Ellen DeGeneres show. So if you know someone that knows Ellen DeGeneres, reach out and let's get this chain on there.
Yeah, and absolutely. And, you know, the bigger it grows, the more likely it's going to, you know, hit the Ellen stage for sure. And then from there, just, you know, absolutely take it next level. So,
yeah, well, it's a museum piece, I have no doubt. And I could see this in Mona Museum.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. And yeah, I contributed to that back in August. Back in August last year on the cruise ship.
Yes.
And I got to fill that in, and I thought, wow, what an incredible project. And not just project, but just an impact that you're having, because as we know, what you focus on grows, you know, and like you said, you're at that choice point, you're at that fork in the road in every given moment that you have. Do you choose to focus on what's missing and what's wrong, or do you choose to focus on what you have and what's right? And that's the choice point. And that's why I think you bring, you just bring it to life in everything that you do. And,
Vanessa, the phenomenal mental health benefits of writing down what you're grateful for is incredible. So this is what we need right now. We need to be lifting our mental health however we can. And, you know, I skip and do all those sort of crazy things. And there's all sorts of ways we can lift our mental health right now in a natural way. But writing down what you're grateful for, you know, sets new neural pathways in our brain, which makes us think forward of what else we can be grateful for in the future. So it's amazing for our mental health.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's probably the most incredible challenge, I think, for everybody to do. And I really encourage you guys to do that. And not just to do that, and make today the day one of your gratitude journal, and just show up and just keep that action going. Like Donna just shared with us all, you know, the importance of your mental health, and knowing how it's just so simple. You know, you have the power to put pen to paper every single day and shift your mindset and shift your reality and impact and influence other people, so that you are generating, you know, you're that orange. I love that analogy. And you're going to ooze out that gratitude and inspire others to up level in their lives as well. So
absolutely,
I love that.
Such a simple thing to do.
Absolutely. So I have a final question to ask you, but before I ask you that final question, I just wanted to, because I know we've got a bunch of different people who've shown up today and they've dropped a few comments. So I just wanted to quickly run through them and then finish with the final question. Yeah, we had Alexandra and Charles joining, and Matt, good to see you back again. And I can't even pronounce people's names, but Matt, health, happiness, and all forms of successes, positive achievements, and learning from deficits. Absolutely. And yeah, Matt is a great example. He's one of my amazing clients in the Limitless Potential Academy. And he is somebody who is a great example of having adversity and not being the victim. You know, like he's saying here, he's got a lifelong medical condition, hydrocephalus, fluid on the brain. That would be easy for me to say right now.
Yeah.
An incredible human being. So really, I actually did think of you, Matt, when Donna was sharing her, you know, adversity and what that means to her, and how that's influenced her ability to be resilient and self-believing and impactful to other people. So love that. And Matt's asking for the app details, so that so maybe you could share those with us as well, so that we can know where we're going.
I actually actually have, I'll get it up on my iPad just very quickly here so you can see.
Sure. Yeah.
The app's actually in my children's book. So I'm a children's author, and I've written a series of children's books called The Adventures of Jessie and Rocky Rockstar. Now, Jessie's my daughter, and Rocky Rockstar is our rescue dog. And they're beautiful stories about the life lessons that Rocky Rockstar teaches Jess about kindness and compassion. And so there's a takeaway message in each story for children under the age of 10. And in the back of these books is the life-saving app. So, so I wanted to give these to people who bought the books, because also I give a percentage of the books to Paradise Kids Grief and Loss Program for children. And sadly, we will be seeing a lot more grieving going on with this virus. But they offer an amazing service to children. So this is the sorry.
That's all right.
Can you see that?
Okay. Yes. So
okay, so you can see there's some buttons at the bottom. I'll just pull it away a bit.
Is it called, if people looked up, the Dream Guards? Is that the name of that?
That's cool. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And awesome. So you can see there's a number of buttons here. We've got support. I think that's support there. So just up back to front here. So you can see there's all the support services. Okay. Yep. So you've got Headspace and Lifeline and Domestic Violence Line, that kind of thing. We've also got meditations on this. So narrated by myself and Michael, and we have a beautiful Native American flute player in the background. So lots of ways that you can de-stress, relax, and there's also mindset videos as well. So lots of value on this app.
I love that. I really recommend everybody download the app. So the Dream Guards.
Yes. It's a free app.
Yeah. Free app. Awesome. And I know you're a 3 times published author, and I've bought all 3 of your books, but I've only kept one for myself. I've got your book right here.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And I haven't read it yet, so I don't want to lie. It is next on my list, though. I've had a lot going on, but I've been meaning to. And my 2 nieces, who I gave your other 2 amazing books with, Jessie and Rocky the Rockstar, they absolutely loved them, and they were really blown away by your personal message that you wrote for each of them. So yeah, I really loved that, and I felt honored to be at your amazing book launch whenever that was, a few months ago. So
yes, thank you so much for supporting me with that, Vanessa. Yeah, absolutely. It was great. It was a great night.
Yeah, it was good fun. So yeah, really highly recommend the work that you're doing to everybody to go and check out. And loving that Matt says, liking the way you roll, Donna. Awesome insights, points of view, wanting to know how you personally put your own spin on personal professional events. For me, yeah, okay, so he's wanting to know how you put your personal spin on the events that you do.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, I skip. That's one thing.
Yeah.
I actually do skip. I skip on the stage and I hula hoop, and you know, so I do some pretty wild, wacky things, man.
Yeah,
because that's my personal spin.
I love that, because you're also a personal trainer, qualified personal trainer. So I love that you bring the health element, the energy, and walk your talk with the message that you bring.
Yes, and the skip is amazing because it brings out the child in you. And what I say on the stage is, you know, it connects the community through a double dose of dopamine. So what happens is when you skip, you actually can't help but smile. It brings out the child. And then other people who see you skip smile too. But sometimes they laugh, and that's but it's actually connecting the community through a double dose of dopamine. So what I say is put a skip in your day and keep depression away.
Oh, I love that. That's so good. And you're so right. I just even just imagining myself skipping, I couldn't help but smile. And then seeing other adults skip, it does make you laugh. Yeah. You know? So that's beautiful. I love that. And good question there from Matt. And yeah, I won't be linking any other people into this. This is just an interview with Donna today, but thanks for asking that. And he's also asking whether the colors in the global gratitude chain whether they represent any various categories or they're just kind of
No,
whatever you feel,
no,
just bring the
no,
color
it's
to your
very
day.
random. I have received about 350 black gratitude links from a school in Christchurch in New Zealand to represent, you know, the All Blacks. Yeah.
Cool. I like that. They'll definitely stand out in the crowd.
Yeah.
Cool. And also, Matt's asking, is there a video format of the book? Maybe an audio, I think he means. Is there an audio version?
Yeah, and a video. There's both.
Ah, wonderful, wonderful. So where can people, is that on your website?
It's on Amazon. It's on, I'm not sure if it's on my website, actually.
Okay.
I think people can certainly buy the book on my website. I'm not sure if they can buy, I don't think I've got them loaded yet, but you can buy them on Amazon. You can buy them on all of the platforms, Kindle and all of that. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So look Donna-Leigh Perfect up and make sure that you are downloading all of her 3 books. They're all incredible. And if not for you, I mean, even the kids' books, I think they were so beautiful. I read through them and then I gave them away, you know?
So, the kids' books are doing really well. I was on the Channel 7 News last Friday. So, so it's very exciting. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the beautiful Alexandria and Charles are saying, thank you both for an amazing and heart-centered learning session. You are so welcome, beautiful. Awesome. So my final question for you, Donna, is just really you know, any final thoughts that you'd like to leave our audience with, just knowing everything that's happening in the world and just anything that just pops up from your heart that you'd like to share with everyone.
Yes, so my saying is the future of community is connectedness. So make sure that you connect with somebody in your community, in your environment today.
Oh, I absolutely love that. Thank you so much. I'm glad I asked. And it's been an absolute pleasure getting to connect with you. And thank you so much for spending the last hour with myself and with our beautiful audience. It's been absolutely packed, filled of wisdom, and I feel kind of happier, and I've gotten lots of goosebump moments and all sorts of stuff. So appreciate you, beautiful soul, and keep doing the incredible work that you're doing and showing up as the beautiful human being that you are.
Thank you so much, Vanessa, and thank you for this opportunity to share with all of your beautiful people. And you know, just stay happy, stay healthy, and stay connected.
Absolutely. Love that. And on that note, we will sign off, and we'll have to do this again sometime at another stage, because I know it will have been valuable to everybody. And thank you to our live audience. Love you guys. A pleasure to have you guys connect into the energy and contribute your wisdom and your just your energy. It's beautiful. So much love to all of you, and definitely to you, Donna. Thank you again. I'm immensely grateful for you and your time.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye.
See you, everyone.